Hey, Penny, how you doing this morning? Look at your fans out there this morning. They want to see you on the Facebook Live on WCRS. So look, Penny. Are you looking at them? Can you say hi? Say hi. Hi, everybody. That's right. Penny's right with us here this morning. Hope you're with us here live on Facebook. It is Thursday. And I don't know, folks. I think there was another shooting here in Greenwood last night. Let me get the details on that for you. This is unbelievable to me. The Greenwood Police Department is investigating a homicide. Officers were dispatched to an apartment. Well, let's let Ann be on camera here for a second. Officers, well, that's not the right one. How about this one? Officers were dispatched to the apartment complex at 845 South Main Street, Greenwood High Apartments, on Wednesday around 11:09 p.m. Upon arrival, a gunshot victim was found in a hallway. The Greenwood County Coroner's Office, said that it responded to the Self-Regional Healthcare Emergency Department and identified the victim as Michael C. Boston. Police said the suspect's vehicle was located and a woman was taken into custody. The incident originated from an argument in the laundry room of an apartment building. Isn't that just so worth it, right? Isn't that just so worth it? Let's see. We've got some more details over here. They have taken the suspect in. Let's see. I thought I had it pulled up here, but police. Okay, Greenwood Police Department. We'll get the rest of it. They have taken that person into custody now, and this is from the Greenwood Police Department. Let's see. We'll read the whole thing from the Greenwood Police Department. Upon arrival, officers located a 41-year-old male suffering from a gunshot wound. Officers immediately rendered aid until EMS arrived and the victim was transported to a local to Self for a treatment. Preliminary findings indicate the incident stemmed from a dispute between the victim and a neighbor regarding missing clothing from a communal laundry room. During the altercation, the suspect retrieved a handgun and shot the victim, who later succumbed to his injuries. The suspect has been taken into custody and is currently awaiting a bond hearing at the Greenwood Detention Center. This remains an active investigation. Additional details will be released as they become available. We appreciate the community's cooperation and encourage anyone with additional information to contact the Greenwood Police Department investigation at 864-942-8407. The suspect has been identified as Broche Floyd, a 24-year-old female. Floyd has been charged with murder and possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. This is just unbelievable to me. We're having continued murders happening right here in Greenwood. Why, folks? Why is this continuing? I don't know. I think that it is something. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I've talked to several people about it, and I know the police department is doing everything that they can with what they have to work with. I know through conversations, well, there she is. She's on The View. Okay, I know through conversations that They have taken people that normally work in a different department. They have activated them to work in the streets, being on the roads, making sure that they are active. But I'm sorry to say, I don't think it's enough. Surely we cannot cover. I mean, somebody made the comment, well, and that they can't cover the whole city, Greenwood City, and that is true. You never know where something is going to pop up. Who would have thought? Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know about the Greenwood High apartments, but who would think that someone would get a gun and fight over fight over laundry? You know, I'm for the days when people used to take it outside and duke it out. Do you remember those days? You know, where two guys, well, maybe a couple of girls, but it was usually guys, they'd get posturing like, well, let's take it outside. And they take it outside. And now people take it outside, it's probably a gun involved. Back in the day, it was just fists. So I'm not making light of this, but I just, this is so out of bounds, that I really think Greenwood needs some help. Whether it is National Guard, whether it is additional officers that could come from another area, but I don't really see how even that works because most police departments are all running short. But we need some help here in Greenwood. We need to try to tamp down that angst. I don't know how you could have avoided this one from happening if it happened in a laundry room and people got angry because someone took someone's whatever. I don't know how you would stop that. But I do know that there has to be a consequence that people feel that it is not worth taking it to a gun level. Now, I do not know the victim that has been killed, that Michael Boston. I do not know him, but I do know that God, this is just so bad. I do know that the person that was the person that is the alleged person that did the shooting is black. I just don't know whether Michael Boston is black. That's the only thing I don't know. So, let's see. Maybe I can find it right here. So I just don't know. But this continues discussion that we had the other day about it being a lot of black on black crime, a lot of the shootings have all been black. I do not know about this. I do not know about the victim. Excuse me. If somebody knows the victim, then you could probably let me know whether it was or was not another black on black crime. Regardless, one person has died, and one person is in custody. Kudos to the officers for the Greenwood Police Department for resolving it, meaning having found the shooter, the alleged shooter. I guess we better say the alleged shooter, so that this case can proceed. But 2 lives are ruined in this case, and how many more lives have been ruined by their actions? This idea that a gun is the ultimate resolver has just gotten out of hand in Greenwood. So while I think the police are doing as good a job as they can do. I know that we need families involved in it, in keeping these type of situations. But again, this is an adult situation here. So um, Miss Floyd is a 24-year-old female. The victim that died was 41 years old. So our idea that it's all juvenile really isn't holding water at this point. I'm sure there is still juvenile, et cetera, et cetera, but it's really not holding water. So I don't know what the answer is. I wanted to bring that to your attention here today. We are on an average, I guess we've got about one a week. I don't know whether we'll be able to say, well, we're done for this week or the weekend is upon us. You know, this is spring. On top of this is spring, and we haven't even got to summer. And usually we see an uptick in things as summer gets here. So, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I want to take a really quick break. Yes. Let me put. We're going to get a call from Police Chief T.J. Shadone here in just a minute. Let me get this set up. Let's. What shall we do? Because it's going to take me a minute to do this. It's going to take me a minute to do this. So, I guess we're going to play a song. How about that? Let's play a song. Let me get this set up. And then we'll take a commercial break. And then we should have the police chief with us. So, hold on just 1 second here. Let me find something. This is terrific. I'm glad he's calling in here this morning. This is definitely what we need. So, hold on right here. Let's play this for a second.
Hey, Miss Ann. Hey, Miss Ann, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hold on just a second, Chief. We got you right there. All
Sounds
right. Let's see. We have a call in from T.J. Shadone. How you doing today, Chief?
I'm doing very good, Miss. Well, not really doing very good. I got off at 4:30 this morning and got back in here at 8. So it's been a long night, and it's probably gonna be a long day.
Well, what can you tell us?
Basically, sometime around last night, around a little after 11 o'clock, officers responded to Greenwood High Apartments in reference to someone had been shot. When they got there, it ended up finding out it was actually, it's the silliest thing. You know, I've worked probably, I don't know how many homicides in my career, but I've worked a lot, been a part of a lot, and this is probably one of the silliest ones we've had, over a dispute in the laundry room over clothes. I mean,
I agree.
It's like, it's crazy.
So, so we have a person that has died, and you have the person in custody, that the alleged shooter on this in custody. I was just discussing this, and I was making a few comments. Chief, what are we going to do to stop the violence here in our community? This is becoming a weekly event.
Well, we had double the amount of officers on scene last night. We'd already taken one gun off a little juvenile earlier in the night, but to be 100% honest with you, this is a community thing. This is not a police department. There's nothing we could have done to stop what happened last night. There
Right.
was two people at a residence at an apartment complex on their own and got into a dispute, and everybody's carrying guns now, it seems like, and the solution was for her to pull out a weapon and shoot this man, and now we have two people that's lost loved ones. The suspect is now going to have to face numerous serious charges, facing life in prison. And then you have a gentleman, he is a white male. You have a gentleman that's no longer going to be with his family. So it's a tragedy all the way around, but this is not one that would have been stopped regardless of how many officers we had on the streets.
I think I actually was trying to make that point, but TJ, what is going to make people say it's not worth pulling out a gun? I mean, I was talking about back in the day when two people, preferably guys, got mad, they'd say, well, you want to have a piece of me? And they'd go outside and they'd duke it out, right?
Yeah, well, that's, that used
now,
to be the norm. But also I don't believe, back then, it just wasn't as prevalent that people had as many guns as we're seeing on the streets now.
That's what I meant.
I was in the convenience store this morning, and I seen a guy walking in, open carrying, of course, which is totally legal. But I just think that the guns are more readily available to people than what they used to be. Of course, they're getting now where, you can get a cheap handgun for, $100. I'm not sure if it'll fire every time that you want to fire it, but it's just more readily available. I tell people all the time, we see, I think we did 7 traffic stops last night with one small group, and 6 of the 7 had weapons in the car. Legally carrying weapons. They wasn't illegally not carrying them. They were legally carrying them, but I just think we're starting to see a lot of that, a lot more than what we did in the past.
Well, I guess what I was referring to, when they'd take it outside, they'd just fist fight. A little old fist fight is where they'd be going. And today it doesn't seem to be anything like that. It's all gun violence. So I don't know what I know that you have taken people off of other details and you've put more people on the streets, but you're right. This one could not have been prevented by higher police visibility because this was inside of the apartment complex.
Yeah, and and we also got to hold these people responsible. We've had, this is our 9th shooting. And of the 9, of course, there's been an arrest in every one, and we got to make sure we're holding these people accountable. If you're going to pull a weapon and you're going to pull a trigger, then we have to make an example of it's not going to be tolerated, regardless of if somebody's hit or not. If you pull a weapon and you pull that trigger, we got to hold them people responsible, and we got to make examples out of people, or you're not going to get it done. But we've made an arrest out of every one, but except for one of the shootings. And to be honest, when I was going over that case file yesterday, they're getting ready to make an arrest in that one. So we've arrested somebody in every one. It's the same way with all. This is our third homicide this year, which is a little concerning because we usually do not have homicides until sometime around, June or July. But
Right.
it has been a lot warmer weather, so a lot of people are getting out a lot sooner now than it seemed like they were in the past with the cold weather. But yeah, it's one of those things. I think we're going to have to hold people accountable and make examples out of people and say it's not going to be tolerated in our community.
So, I know you've had these community meetings. I know actually I think you've had about 3 different ones with different groups and everything that I know about. Has there been any way to any decisions made about how we're going to attack this problem?
Yeah, I think, and some of it, it's, so you're dealing with 2 different sets here. One of the sets we was real concerned because of the 8 prior to this one, 4 of them was juveniles. So we put a strategic plan in place. We're working with the school districts. We're also putting a community-wide plan together. That's currently being put together now. The city's put together their plan. But we're going to start holding parents accountable. That's the bottom line. If you knowingly or neglect to oversee your child and your child, especially if the child gets the gun from the home, definitely. But even if they should have known that the child had access to a gun or knew that the child had access to a weapon and then that person committed a crime, then we're going to charge the parents too. And we've charged parents in the past. Those are hard cases sometimes to prove, so you have to have all your ducks in a row. But if the gun's taken from the house, no ifs and buts about it. The parents are going to get charged. It's unfortunate, but you also are responsible.
So what kind of charges?
And especially like some of these mass shootings we've seen where the parents gave the kid a gun and then they knew the kid had mental health issues. So.
Well, TJ, now what kind of charges could the parents be brought up on?
Well, it depends on what the crime the person got. I mean, we can charge them under. It really depends on what involvement it was. So if they absolutely 100%, the gun, they just didn't prevent that, you can charge them unlawful conduct towards a child, contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile. If that person went out and shot and killed somebody, then you could actually charge them with involuntary manslaughter. So there's some charges out there, obstruction of justice, of course, and then you have some, if they knew about the crime and then tried to hide it or lied to investigators or something like that, then you can charge them with some of the, after the fact, knowing the crime occurred after the fact, and then you trying to do something to conceal it or protect your child.
Right. Well, TJ, you only have so many people on the police force, and, you all work very, very hard. Do you think we need to bring in some outside forces here?
I think that would be way overreacting. There's absolutely nothing that shows. If you would have brought somebody in, let's say we had a police officer on every corner, it wouldn't have stopped none of the shootings that we've seen so far. I mean, these are groups of individuals that got together and things escalated quickly. But people also have rights. So there's absolutely nothing. And like if we had 8 shootings and no one had been arrested and no one had been charged with them, then I would say we probably need to reach out to some different avenues and get some help. But at this time, we're not seeing anything that we hadn't seen in the past. We've had homicides, way more homicides than we've even come close to right now in the past, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and the 90s, So it's unfortunate, and I'll tell you, I think I cursed myself. I should have never talked about how crime was so low.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody says it.
I'm never going to repeat that statement again.
Yeah. Well, it's gotta be frustrating to be in this situation, and like you said, this is springtime. We haven't even gotten to early summer where we usually see a rise in this, but I know it's also putting people on edge.
Oh yeah. Well, anytime that you have these type of incidents, it's going to put people on edge, especially when it comes right there together. In reality, some of the shootings were connected. The regular shootings, not the homicides. None of the homicides are connected to each other. But we're also in a place that we got to hold everybody responsible, regardless of if they're juveniles or not. If they're taking a gun and they're pulling the trigger, we got to hold them responsible. And I think that's one of the biggest things right now is making sure we're holding these people responsible. If you're going to take a gun and you're going to fire that gun, then if it's not justified, then you got to be held responsible.
TJ, have you had any discussion with any of the churches trying to step up? Because it just seems we just don't seem to, in the cases that we've seen so far, and this is a generalization, but caring about life. A gun is very much going to kill somebody given the opportunity. But if we...
Yes, ma'am. Well, I think that's you're also looking at the fact that, with the Second Amendment and our constitutional carry, you don't have to be trained or understand the weapon, which is why we've had a couple of accidental shootings where people have actually shot themselves for its lack of training. And I think that we always look back at the old days, and I was just talking to somebody, and I was telling them I learned about gun safety at a young age because my dad took me hunting and stuff like that. So the gun safety part was there with me for a young age, but we don't have that now. And a lot of times when these kids are picking up these guns, they're picking up a gun for the first time, and the only thing they know about that gun is what they've seen on TV.
And video games, I guess.
Especially when every dispute, it seems like somebody is armed, and when they're armed, that dispute in a split second turns into somebody pulling a weapon and firing around, which I don't think that, especially a lot of these people, understand the consequences of their actions. I mean, it's hard for me to understand why you would be arguing with somebody over laundry or be arguing with somebody because somebody says something about you online, and then you pulled a weapon and fired a weapon and took somebody's life over something, so small and not. I mean, everything matters, but I just don't know if we're living in the same society as people who grew up with churches and grew up with going to church every Sunday and understanding life and understanding the consequences of taking a life. So I really feel that it's a different group, it's a different generation, and there's a lot more to it than just enforcing law. I think I mentioned in the speech the other night that we're not going to arrest our way out of this. This is a cultural thing. Everyone's carrying guns, and whenever they get into a dispute, instead of handling it like you said in the old days, now they're pulling out a weapon and firing. But in the old days, most of us that I can remember, any time that I've had to step outside and swing a couple times, I never had a gun on me. So, right. I mean, it was just, that was just the way it was.
Yeah, I remember Jeff used to say that, if somebody wanted to go outside, probably they'd say, "Can you hold my coat for me?" And they'd take off their coat to go out and duke it out for a few minutes till they could come to an agreement. But, I think
then after we was all friends again.
Right.
So I think that was probably a lot better than what we're seeing now.
Exactly. You'd go back in and have a beer or a Coke or something and just calm down. But, one of my favorite movies is The Christmas Story, right? Where the bully.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And his mom has to come and take him off of it, and then she takes him home, and, this type of thing. But that's what it was. It was duking it out like that, and then it was
Absolutely.
over. So, TJ, I'm catching that maybe you think it's a problem that when they did open carry that they took off the part about having to have some training for gun carry.
I don't necessarily. I mean, my personal opinion, I believe everybody should have training if you're going to carry a weapon. Oh, and I can tell you, where people get so out of function is 99% of our citizens are absolutely 100% law-abiding citizens that's well trained and understand the weapons. And the ones that's picking them up, which is what I consider the criminals, and the ones that's just not understanding, they don't take the time to understand a weapon, how that weapon functions, how to use that weapon. So, all these cases we have, except for the one last night, they're all that 2%. Now, last night was a random act of violence that, that I think was unpredictable, and that's what makes it even more heartbreaking. You're out here selling drugs, and you get caught up in a shootout, that's going to happen. That most of our homicides are drug or gang related.
Right.
That's just point blank. But when you come out something that's so silly as last night's homicide, it just baffles your mind how somebody would take somebody's life because you're upset over clothes, laundry. It just baffles my mind.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I don't know where we're headed on this. I did want to mention, because it's a conversation you and I have had, that every time we take a juvenile into custody, it's $150 a day. I think you told me the other night you had 6 juveniles in custody down there in Columbia.
Yeah, I have 5 now.
5.
One actually pled guilty to their charges and was sent to a YOA type thing. So I got 5 still down there, and which it stinks because that's money that comes from our budget, and that's taxpayers' money. So taxpayers are paying for it, and it's heartbreaking because I realize how hard people work for their money, and then we got these kids that has no respect for nobody, and I think that if everybody could actually speak to some of these young people and see what their mindset is, they would understand this is totally a different group of people than what we're accustomed to seeing. I mean, they have no idea of what life is, and it's just like they just don't care. People used to be afraid of jail. None of them's afraid of going down to Columbia anymore. It's like it's a badge of honor if they get to go down there.
Well, that has to make it tough on y'all, too, to have to make that decision to send somebody down there.
Yeah, it's and most of the time the people we're sending, it's going to be a serious offense, but at the same time, we have to send them down there. They need to be down there. They don't need to be walking around in our communities causing this type of problems. And we're going to continue to put people in. We're going to continue to put people in jail. If you commit a crime here in Greenwood, we're going to put you in jail, and we're going to work with our prosecutors and our 8th Circuit Solicitor's Office, Yates, and them do a great job with us and helping us. And our judges have really been good here lately. Every homicide has not been given a bond, and we're currently moving along with the with holding these people accountable. So very proud of our detectives. Very proud of our officers. They're putting in a lot of time to try to make our community as safe as possible. But the chances of you getting shot in Greenwood is slim to none unless you're dealing drugs or you out late in the early morning hours and you're at places that probably shouldn't nobody be at. That's where we're seeing most of our crime. Now, the juvenile crime, the shootings we've seen, of course, that's not true. They were is after-school stuff, but we got to do a good job of monitoring our kids and monitoring what they're doing and knowing their whereabouts. So many times we have parents say, I don't know where my kid is. I don't know who he's with, and it's just frustrating because I know how I was as a parent. I know how most of the people I know were as parents. They knew where their kids were. They knew exactly what was going on. I mean, it baffles me how today's technology, a parent don't know where their child is.
Well, yeah, I mean, particularly when you can have them tracked and everything, right? If they've got a phone, they can be tracked. So,
yeah. If my wife can tell you when I'm at McDonald's, I'm sure they should be able to tell you where their child is.
You don't stand a chance, TJ.
I know. And what's so bad, Miss Ann, is I don't even know what it is on my phone that she can do it, and I don't even know how to take it off. I just know when I pull in the drive-thru, she calls me and asks me, why am I at McDonald's trying to get something to eat? and I always just tell her I'm on a call now because she's got me on a diet. So for some reason, she wants me to live a little longer.
Yeah, well, it used to be donuts. Now it's McDonald's. What can we say?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, listen, TJ, I sure appreciate you calling in here this morning. I know that there are things in the things being developed to try to keep these kids out of harm's way, but it does start with the parents, and we do, I think, in my personal opinion, for the children, this type of thing, we definitely need these parents to step up and be a little bit more concerned about their children. I know one of the things you had told me, you know a lot of these kids that are out there and about, and y'all are kind of trying to watch them, but that's not really your job either.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, our job is to enforce law and prevent crime, and that's what we're going to do. But sometimes we get caught up in so much stuff that, especially, getting blamed for stuff that there's no control over. But at the same time, I'm very proud of our officers. We have probably some of the best officers in the state. I'd put them up against anybody. Like I said, we hadn't had an unsolved homicide since 2019. 7 of the 8 shootings that we had here recently, they solved, and I'm pretty sure that they're probably going to end up picking up a young man on the 8th one that hadn't been arrested yet. But very proud of them. I don't think people realize the type of hours they work. And that's heartbreaking, but at the same time, they're very dedicated to our community, and I couldn't be more proud to lead such a great group of men and women.
Well, we are blessed to have good people out there, and I know it is most frustrating, and it has to wear on your officers too.
Oh yeah, a lot of stress. Like I said, I got home this morning about 4:30 and got back here at 8, so it's going to be a long day. I'm pretty sure of it.
I understand. Well, thank you so much for calling in this morning, Chief. I didn't expect this, but we made it happen. And keep the faith and call me anytime, and we'll put you on anytime that you would like to come on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Ann. Y'all have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. All right, well, let's see. Let me hang that up. We just had Police Chief TJ Shadone with us right here on WCRS Radio. How about that this morning? All right, you too. Bye-bye. Okay. All right, well, let's see. Let me hang that up. We just had Police Chief TJ Shadone with us right here on WCRS Radio. Okay. I've got things going. I think I've got everything going here. I don't know. Do I have everything going? Yes, we are going right here on WCRS Radio. Let's see if I can put it back on me. Yep, here we are. We're right back here on me. So, well, it's on me. You may not see me, but I see me now. All right, we are live right here on WCRS Radio. This is a community problem, like TJ said, Police Chief TJ Shadone said, and we have to figure out a way to deal with it. Our churches need to be stronger. Our parents need to be stronger. And like I had said before he called in, and like he said, there wasn't any way that they could have stopped the event last night simply because it was inside the apartments and it wasn't out on the streets. So these are things to be really concerned about, folks. But as he said, if you're not out after midnight, if you're not this, that, and the other, you're probably okay. And let's just hope and pray that some of the programs that they are looking to put in place, that they will be able to make sure that we are safe, and that they are making a plan. I guess people just don't realize that I am on the air, folks. Here I am on the air. All right, let's okay, we got things being dropped off. We've got this happening. Anyways, life goes on, and the wild and crazy life of Ann Eller right here on WCRS Radio, I don't know. Let's see if I go over here, what'll happen. I was trying to get back to something since, there we go. There we go. Um, you know, I've been doing this, I think, almost a year. I don't know when I first started doing live Facebook, but I actually think I've gotten pretty good at it. I can keep everything rolling despite. I've even added Princess Penny on here as part of the crew here. So I think, yes, say good morning, Penny. You want to say hi? Say hi. Thank you very much, Penny. She loves saying hi, and she loves getting a treat whenever she says hi. Yes, she likes to be paid for her work. So that was great having TJ on this morning. I'm so glad he called in and was able to have a little conversation with us. He is scheduled to come on in about, I don't know, I think a week or so. We've got a room in the schedule. He will be joining us, and we're really going to have a discussion. Maybe they'll have some more information for us. So thank you. TJ Shadone right here on WCRS Radio. Well, let's talk about another controversy. How about that, since we've got a few minutes? Big controversy developed over Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evett going to be the commencement speaker at South Carolina, the State University down there in Orangeburg, and they did not like this idea. The students there did not want her to speak. She doubled down on this. Which, and in the end, she is now not going to be the commencement speaker. It's rather interesting. Sometimes things baffle me with politics. This is one that baffles me on politics. And it baffles me because I don't understand, I guess it's the idea that any publicity, bad or good publicity, is publicity. I guess it goes back to that one. But she definitely has taken a stand on where she is on DEI. She's now calling for some of the professors down there to not have tenure. I mean, this has really gone over, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion. There may be a few other people that agree with me out there. It is hard for me to believe why she has pushed this point forever. On Fitz News, this is the storyline here. With her floundering campaign for governor, South Carolina languishing in fourth place per the latest polls, Palmetto State Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evett finally got good news this week. See, this is what I'm saying. Good news. Students at SC State University, a historically black college located in Orangeburg, launched a protest of her selection as the keynote speaker for the school's commencement scheduled for next Friday, May 8th. One of the things that is surprising about this that a friend of mine pointed out, did seem a little late for them to be putting that out there as who the commencement speaker is. They usually, most schools, put it out at least a month or so, maybe 2 months before, so that everybody can be getting prepared. This seems a little odd. On top of that, it came out really from Pamela Evett's campaign and through some other sources that she was going to be the speaker, but the administration down there never had come forth and said, oh yes, she is, until they decided to make the decision not to have her as the speaker. Now they're left with a week, a little over a week, to put somebody else in that position. Ironically, the dust-up over Evett's appearance came less than 2 weeks after Republicans white Republicans in the South Carolina General Assembly installed an uber liberal former black judge as the school's newest trustee. Apparently, advancing alternative viewpoints is a one-way street in Palmetto State. Anyways, Evatt's selection as commencement speaker was pillared by the protesters. They said things like, she can't speak for us, she doesn't relate to us, she doesn't support us. None of her viewpoints allowing with any black person that goes to this school. It's a slap in the face, it's distasteful, it's disrespectful. Those are all the things that were being said. As of Wednesday morning, April 29th, nearly 9,000 people had signed a petition calling on the school to rescind the invitation to Evatt, which is referred to as a disservice to the values and missions that our institution stands for. Values which seem to include ending sentences with prepositions, says Will Folks. Okay. Pamela Evatt's political positions and affiliations have raised significant controversy in South Carolina, especially among communities who feel marginalized by current state politics, the petition noted. Many students, families, and alumni are concerned that her presence at one of our most significant events does not reflect the values we collectively hold dear. So nonetheless, presented with her first real opportunity to be defined as the South Carolina GOP electorate as something other than the lurking eager shadows of status quo Governor Henry McMaster, Pamela Evatt leaped in with both feet. And she did. Let's be clear, is what she said in a tweet. Facts trump feelings in the real world. Real Donald Trump and conservatives have done more for HBCUs than any administration in history. And then she had her response to what was going on. And she basically said, I must be doing something right because woke mobs are coming after me for being a champion of eliminating radical DEI scams on college campuses. Eliminating radical DEI scams. Last time we checked, no one was more on board with radical diversity and inclusion, DEI, than going on about Pam. So there's a lot of, she really has opened up a can of worms. I just wonder, could she have been better off to have taken the high road and said, maybe I'm not the best pick for this. I would still like the opportunity to come to your school and to come to the school on another occasion. But this certainly has created a lot of controversy. I would be interested in your opinions about what happened, what is happening. It's still happening. I understand Pamela's been all over Twitter this morning talking about it. You know, this seems to be the avenue that we take. More controversy, the better it is. I think what we need is someone that can bring people together, whether it's in our own town, whether it's discussing land values, land rezoning, what's happening out there on the Ascend property, any of these things. We all seem to take it to the 10th degree. I think it's really sad, truthfully. I think it's great for sensationalism. It's great maybe for newscasters and talk show hosts, the current one excluded, to have something to talk about. But I think it really is sad that this is the state of our state, and whether it's South Carolina, Washington D.C., Minnesota, Nebraska, wherever it is, everybody takes things to the nth degree. I don't know what happened to be the ability to listen and the ability to understand. I think that some of what was happening down there at SC State is highly suspicious. Normally, the administration is the one that makes the announcement, I believe, on who the commencement speaker is going to be. But the way this kind of, I'll say, leaked out to the press and to the public and to the students down there, the administration didn't make any statements until they made the decision that they would not have her as the speaker. But that's politics. That's what they say. If you don't like how the sausage is making, don't be there when it's being made. Unfortunately, with instant access to cell phones, TV, computers, all these things, that certainly has changed up. So I don't know what this is going to do for Pamela Evans' campaign. Evidently, her campaign people were excited that she had controversy. She also has had controversy, if you remember, on a couple of other things in her campaign. I don't think they have risen to the level of this one. I know they haven't risen to the level of this one. She has attacked what was it, Alan Wilson back, what was it, maybe in February, I'm thinking, where she made a comment that he should have been on top of the where two people took this lady down a road, and she thought they were going to see a puppy. She was going to get a puppy down this dirt road, and instead they killed her. Pamela said that Alan Wilson, I am paraphrasing now, Alan Wilson should be on it and he should have prosecuted it. It really wasn't even in his district, in his area, to be the prosecutor at that point. That was a local county issue, and if it ever got, I guess, to a appeal or something, then it might appeal to the state's attorney. So that's where we're at. April 30th, 2026. We have so many problems going on. It's just like unbelievable that we cannot come together on a lot of the issues that we need to come together. We have the one thing y'all did come together, though, is in giving me my big resolution from the South Carolina Senate, and I surely appreciate it very much. And I tell you what, it's been very heartwarming. I have posted a couple of things on my personal page, Ann Eller, and y'all have really come out and made me feel really special on this honor that was bestowed on me, and I appreciate it so much. So if you'd like to make a comment on our Facebook page, I would love to have you make a comment, hopefully positive, about being the voice of Greenwood and helping keep everybody informed. So that's another thing. And again, I am overwhelmed with how many people, comments, nice wishes that have been said, and it really has made me feel very special, very special. So other things that I wanted to talk about here this morning. Let's do the weather. Let's see if the weather is non-controversial, is it? The weather is whatever the weather is, and I think it may be going to bother some of the festivals and whatnot going on. Let's see. Today it is 64 degrees right now. We are headed for a high of 75, a low of 54. Next hour, rain chance 15%. Cloudy today, high of 75. So what else do we have for the weekend? Saturday, it says I can't believe the weather change. Saturday, they say it's going to be a high of 59, a low of 44, and we have about a 70% chance of rain. When is the rain supposed to be? Generally cloudy, winds light and variable. Rain early, then remaining cloudy with showers in the afternoon. Cooler, just a high of 59. Chance of rain 70%, rainfall around a quarter of an inch. Well, we desperately need some rain, so this is a good thing as far as that goes. Just hope it doesn't destroy. And we've got the spring fling over there in Abbeville goes on this weekend, starts I believe this evening. Tomorrow evening. So that's it. But Saturday, high of 59, low of 44, 70% chance of rain, rainfall around a quarter of an inch. The rain is supposed to be early and then be out of here. That is a good thing. Sunday looks like a high of 69, mostly sunny, and a low of 45. Rain will be gone. Coming in on Monday, looks like we're right back up to 77 is the high with a low of 52. So, and again, mainly sunny skies. So the looks like the rain will be out of here in just a little bit. Saturday, we may have some rain early, and it must be going to be pretty heavy because they're talking about a quarter of an inch of that. So let's see. What else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about. Did you hear the story about the license plates fiasco that they have come up with as a yes, they are. I don't know where it is. They came up with a license plate that was going to talk about the Revolutionary War, and evidently they've had a problem with it, and they've decided to suspend that and come up with something else because they decided that this wasn't appropriate to use. I don't really know the reason why, but I don't see the article on that right at this moment. But I thought that was very odd that they did away with this license plate and now they're going to redesign it. I don't understand what's going on. How come we have so many problems on these type of things? I just don't understand it. Anyways, that's a little bit about what's going on. Let's go ahead maybe and see what we have going for a few events, things you might want to know about for this weekend. Hard to believe it's Thursday, folks. This afternoon, we do have Anthony Price on. His conversation is very timely. We are going to be talking about trauma and how it affects our youth and adults, and why there are ways around this, but we must get to a point where we understand it. And so we'll be talking about this topic. We'll be talking about the success of Pathway House. That is this afternoon at 5 o'clock. Now for a couple of events going on. Brewer Center Community Yard Sale and Vendor Fair. All proceeds support STARS 2014 Center. That is Saturday, May 2nd from 8 to 1, right over there, 125 North University Street. $20 per table, indoor spaces, vendor setup begins at 7 a.m. Mark your calendars, get out there and shop and see what they have. So that'll be going on. Okay. Interesting to note on the Pamela Evatt debacle on South Carolina State University. State Representative and Democratic gubernatorial candidate Jermaine Johnson is responding, but he also says he's available to speak. He'd speak. So and He said he could be there. So we'll see where that goes. See who they call up next. That will be something to watch. Something to watch. Um, what else did I have? The Spring Fling is going on this weekend, right? That's going on. The museum's big event. Today is the last day to sign up to come to the Derby party at the museum. That is this Saturday, starts at 5 o'clock. Of note, you must get your tickets today. They will not be selling tickets at the door. This is a fabulous event. I believe it is the third one, and everyone has been spectacular. It is a true Derby party. We have Derby food. We'll have people dressed in Derby outfits, and they will have a hat contest, a best dressed couple contest, male, female, hats. We've got it all going on. They'll have races with tissue paper. Yes, they're a hoot, but they're a lot of fun. They'll have bourbon tasting. They'll have a wine pull. And, of course, I think they have a 50-50 raffle going on, too. But all these things are going on, and from 5 to 7:30. The race, it's the fastest race in sports, 2 minutes, and you know the winner. No dragging it out, inning after inning. No, it's over and done. They'll have big screens. They'll be able to watch it. And they will also have a live band. Who is the live band that will be going? This is going to be a fantastic event. So get your tickets now. Don't hesitate to get them. You will be sad if you don't. Great food, Derby food, bourbon pie and bourbon balls and, I don't know, little brown sliders, which are very little browns, I think they call them. They are all very much in demand, and it's just fun to dress up for a couple of hours. The party happens upstairs, downstairs, and it's just great. And the museum does an excellent job. This is a fundraiser to help the museum, so come out and support. All right, now, other things going on. Adopt a shelter pet. Name your adoption price. Today, and it looks like today only, name your own adoption price. If you bring paper towels, wet kitten food, puppy kitten formula, come out there to the Humane Society, 2820 Airport Road, right here in Greenwood. And you can give them a call at 229-2498 and check out their website and see some of the adoptable pets that they have at gwdhumanesociety.org. So this is your opportunity to get a pet, to get a friend. You know, if you're lacking on friends, having a pet, let me look. I got Princess Penny. Yeah, there she is, sitting right here. I've got Princess Penny. She's my friend. She goes, not if you don't get off the air and get me some food. But it is great to have a friend. And Penny is just such a trip. Every day she is such a trip. If you like keeping Greenwood County beautiful, well, this is your opportunity to see about joining our next board meeting. That'll be Tuesday, May 12th at 4 p.m. at the Greenwood Chamber of Commerce. They really are looking for energized people to help make people realize how important keeping things clean and keeping litter at bay. So they would love for you to come out for that. So that's another good one. Also, if you'd like to be a poll worker, you can impact our community by doing a job. You get paid $135 for each election. The first one is June 9th. There probably is going to be a runoff on June 23rd and then November 3rd. For more information, call or email the voter registration and election office at 864-942-8585. So please go ahead and get in on that. We really need poll workers to make sure that everything is good. And, it is such an expense, such an expense to put on an election, So that's another one. By the way, Mark Sanford has decided to suspend his congressional campaign. Well, that was short-lived, Mark. Why'd you even go about and doing it? Well, I was trying to raise my visibility, and so I thought I would just try this. He says he is instead has dropped out of South Carolina 1st District race after a month and will start a nonprofit aimed at tackling the federal debt. He says he can do more outside of Congress than inside Congress. Well, that is probably true. That's why so many people don't even like going to Congress anymore, because they realize they can do so much more outside. So we will have to see what he exactly thinks he can do. So, but I thought that was interesting. They're also coming up next week. This is important. This is an important meeting. Strategic Plan Community Meeting, May 4th, 5:30 to 7 at the Veterans Auditorium right there at the Greenwood County Library. They say your input matters. Greenwood County wants your input. Join us for a community meeting. We want your input as we create a strategic plan that will guide Greenwood County's priority services and growth for the years ahead. So this will be Monday, May 4th, 5:30 to 7 at the Veterans Auditorium. They have hired a independent group to a local government consulting firm to help gather feedback from residents. So if you want to put your 2 cents worth in, this is your opportunity to do it. And I believe they're going to let you speak. So that'll be going on 5:30 to 7 Monday, May 4th. So if you'd like, check that out. I think that would be a good thing to check out, to go to, and know more about. So that's what I know here on April 30th, the last day of the month. The last day of the month. Can you believe it? We are finished. We are done for this month. 4 months of the year are over. I just find it amazing that we are so far in trying to get through this year. So much has happened. The war still is raging on with no end in sight for what we're trying to have. So let's check out a few more things here, and then I'm going to let you go and hope you have a good day. I'll be back this afternoon at 5 o'clock to talk with Anthony Price. So this is some of the events that are out there. What else do we have, Ann? Live music in Honeypath and Newberry. Valaya Harrington and the Hamptones at the Fiddle and Bow. That is coming up. Show starts at 7 p.m. That is Friday night. Get your tickets. Call 864-940-2254. Also, the Newberry Opera House hosts the Evolution of Joni Mitchell with performer Lauren Fox. Get your tickets from the Newberry Opera House, 803-276-6264. Also, it says find treasures at the townwide yard sale Saturday from 7 to 1 at the 96 townwide yard sale with all kinds of items there. Saturday, you can buy plants at the Burton Center Garden Club plant sale. Cash or check only. That'll be going on from 9 to 1:30. And while you're there, check out Miracle League. That should be going on unless for some reason they get rained out. But they do Miracle League. Those games start at 10 o'clock. Anybody that's participating needs to be there by 9:30. Also, Peachy Keen, Saturday, the Johnston Peach Festival in the Edgefield County town of Johnston, the peach capital of the world, is in bloom. Enjoy entertainment, a parade, concessions, arts and crafts while learning about the peach industry. So there's another good one going on. The Kentucky Derby party we've talked about. Oh, they have mint juleps too. I forgot about that. And of course, Buckland is the group that is going to be playing at the museum. They also are playing at Flynn's on Maxwell at 6 p.m. tonight. They actually, 6 p.m. And check, yes, the duo plays at Howard's on Main at 7 p.m. Good Times Brewing is hoping an open mic night tonight. So lots of other music going on. And, of course, also over in Abbeville, they'll be having the Abbeville Festival Thursday through Saturday, the annual Abbeville Spring Festival on Court Square. Enjoy amusement rides, music, and more. It kicks off at 5 p.m. Thursday. Unlimited rides. Wristbands must be purchased in advance. On the main stage in Abbeville this weekend will be Bobby Power, Rhythm Muscle, Madison Medlin, Flashback the Party Band, No Speed Limit, Corey Stevenson Band, Clay Page, and more. Oh my goodness, they got so much going on out there that it'll just be dizzying. Also, Saturday afternoon at Indigenous Underground is having a gal, I don't have her name in front of me, but at 2 o'clock, this sounds like a really fun event. At 2 o'clock, she is going to be talking about a book she wrote, 100 Things to Do Before You Die. Part of the reason she is at Indigenous Underground, she wrote about Indigenous Underground. She also, I believe, Friday afternoon, from, is it 2 to 4, I do believe, she is going to be over there at the Pecan Place right there. There in 96, so she'll be signing books and be there because she talked about how great the John Murray's Pecan Place is right there. So that's pretty cool. Under the Boardwalk, Thursday from 5 to 8, Connect Lake Greenwood and Gunnels Marine are shagging on the shores. That is already sold out event, but just thought I would mention it in case you're supposed to be going and you forgot. All right, that's going to do it for me. I am Ann Eller, and I really appreciate, again, I've been overwhelmed by the response on my Facebook page about the nice things that have been said about me getting this resolution from the Senate. Need to thank Billy Garrett for making that happen, Senator Billy Garrett. But most importantly, I thank y'all for being so kind and saying so many wonderful, nice things. Even a thumbs up is great to me. So we'll talk more about that another day. I did want to play the video from down there at the State House, but we'll save that for another day. I sure hope you have a great day. Tune in at 5 o'clock today. You will learn something about the trauma that people go through. And until we identify and solve the problem of trauma, we probably aren't going to get anywhere. So that's going to do it for me. This is WCRS Radio. We are going to put the curtain down. We are going to cue the music and say adieu. Well, before I do, I got to show you the picture of someone that's sitting right here saying, "Really? You're really finished?" Yes, we're really finished. That's going to do it for us. So bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day. This is WCRS Radio. Take it away.